be like nah, she can never be like mine. 'Cause she's the best girl. You bring more.
Today on One Always There. Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary. Today on One, SWAT-F and Kufu did not fight against Namibia, say ex-soldiers. Opposition parties cannot be reprimanded for behavior in parliament, says analysts. Union says Namibia CEOs have no aviation business experience. And RIK Technical College persevere despite COVID-19.
Former Southwest Africa Territorial Force SWAT-F and Kufu soldiers camping at the Katutura Youth Complex claims that they never fought against the liberation of Namibia but fought against the planned fighters who were murdering fellow Namibians. The SWAT-F and Kufu former soldiers remember the war in a different light than the way the history books have depicted. Community activist Tyson Hayengwapo said that the soldiers fought the planned fighters, as according to him, the planned fighters were killing their brothers and sisters in their community. The leaders say that they have a list of over 500 names of people who went to go assist the planned fighters in Angola and never returned to Namibia.
These are one of the factors that the plan were doing to the fellow black people. One of the first speakers who have alluded a quite lot of things have indicated that they even used to send their children, brothers, to assist the liberation struggle for these people to go into exile. But they have a list of names, quite a lot of names, that when these people go in the exile, quite many of them never return. There are allegations and rumors that these people used to be killed and tortured in Angola by the planned fighters. So he have alluded that their instinct was not to fight against black in the liberation struggle of Namibia, but the factors that the planned fighter was causing, the harm that the planned fighter was causing to the Namibians, is what make them to join the South African army. Not simply to fight against the liberation struggle of Namibia, but to protect themselves against the planned fighters, or the impact of the planned fighters of SWAPO that were doing to the people of the fellow blacks, especially that were close to the site of the riverbank of Kunene River, which is Kunene or Musati particularly, that when these people came from exile back to Namibia, when they find a woman just in the wild, they take this woman. If the woman is perhaps pregnant, they cut the woman wide open and remove a baby, the fetus of the baby inside, and beat the baby against the wall or against the stones. So insincerely, the lady obviously will pass away or will die with the baby.
Leaders that have been camping at the Katutura Youth Complex due to the coronavirus outbreak shared their painful stories with the Namibian nation.
We fought against the planned fighters because they started to kill us first. That story is not true that we helped South Africa. We were just trying to defend ourselves. Many places in Opua that we called home were destroyed. We assisted the planned fighters with their war in Angola, and many of us were killed. Our fight was never against Namibia, but against the planned fighters. I personally lost my uncle's child. I have a list of names of those that never returned home. There were times in the parliament where President Hage Geingob spoke about the 36 million Namibia dollars that South Africa sent to us, but we have never received that money.
The former soldiers are requesting an audience with the head of state, President Hage Geingob, to discuss the 36 million Namibian dollars that was sent by South Africa that they have never received.
Yo, what's up, Namibia? It's your boy Twist in the house, please. You guys are tuning in to the tribe. You know what it is. This weekend, trust me.
Are you gonna sabi? Sabi, sabi, sabi me now, sabi, 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 on the floor, sabi, 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 to the left, sabi, sabi, sabi now, to the right, sabi.
Political analysts have been observing the eventful sessions in the parliament and are convinced that members of the opposition are gaining ground in dominance over the majority party. However, they also say the radical approach would be more effective if directed towards issues facing the country instead of an imitation of South African-style politics.
No. Please continue. Please continue. Please. This, I come to address the parliament. This is we cannot allow. No. Those of you who don't want to listen, please leave the chamber.
During his State of the Nation address, President Hage Geingob was taken by surprise as he witnessed Popular Democratic Movement party members holding up posters while those from the Landless People's Movement disrupted his speech at every turn. At one point, the head of state vacated the podium in frustration over what he termed as disrespect and disorderly conduct from the opposition. This week, more confrontations were observed between members of opposing parties and made the rounds on social media platforms. Political professor at the University of Namibia, Nico Horn, said while he is impressed with the robust approach of LPM leadership and their contributions to the political arena, he also stressed that street fights in the August House are not the way to go.
Honourable Swartboy made a very good speech when he started, and although he was very critical of the president and the president's actions on the also the State of the Nation's speech, he was nevertheless very articulate. He told us exactly what he thinks can be done and how the Namibian government can produce better work, and yet he then spoiled it all with the argument with Honourable Nyoma. Now, let me say something as well about Honourable Nyoma. I think he should also learn to just ignore these unnecessary, inadequate voices of the Landless People's Movement. It opened the door for Honourable Swartboy to just lose himself. It was not necessary. The things that he said was inadequate. It's not the kind of parliamentary language that we want to have. And everything developed into total chaos. So I told the Landless People's Movement after the State of the Nation's address that they must concentrate on the issues and that they were very well on the road to do the right things at the end of the message, and even received some green leaves from the president. And that's what we want to see. Robust interaction, but not becoming, not having the street fights that we constantly see in the South African Parliament.
During a parliament session this week, Pohamba Shifeta called on the speaker to address the chaos that has been unfolding and abuse of points of order. He further warned the opposition that they should expect their motions to be shot down by the ruling party in response to the misconduct. The speaker reiterated the need for calm and reminded the MPs that they are representatives of the masses and should behave as such. Political science master student Brian Ngushi Nado said robust discourse in legislative chambers are common across the world, but when not controlled, can culminate into scuffles.
Change is very, very good in Namibia, especially in the political space. We see a lot of young people coming through with their robust approach, their straightforward approach. No more cutting around the bush. They just come straight and ask questions. The ruling party, they are sticking to what they used to before, being relaxed, being focused, just go to represent. Because now they have nothing to offer, because these guys need answers. The Namibian people need answers, and they are representative in parliament. They are using that robust approach, and most of the ruling party members, it's more like a culture shock, should I say, because they are actually surprised by this type of approach the oppositions are using this time. They didn't prepare for it, and it's a surprise for them, because all they do now is just to come to parliament, read a prepared speech, and then hopefully they don't know how to defend themselves. If a question comes up that they didn't come, they just don't know how to, they become emotional rather. I think we should accept it, because politics, we are going towards another direction. It has been done in Uganda before, it has been done in China, where people actually end up having fist fight. And it's a game that actually mostly the opposition parties are throwing to the ruling party to sort of come out of their comfort zone and start actually engaging and answering some questions.
Due to social distancing measures, most members of the ruling party are witnessing the proceedings from nearby venues, as only 50 lawmakers are allowed at any one point in the main chamber. Both analysts agree that the guidelines of the House do not cover disciplinary action, but Horn said the Speaker should become more strict and show misbehaving MPs the door.
Welcome to Sport Africa.
The BBC's new weekly show will explore the big sporting issues and questions, like why Africans aren't winning medals in the pool.
I just think it's their mindset.
Meeting established and rising stars.
I could be the Nigerian first Grand Slam winner.
And at the heart of it will be you, the fans, with your passion, your opinions, your stories, and even tests of your sporting knowledge. Go beyond the game with BBC Sport Africa.
The Namibia Transport and Allied Workers Union held a media briefing to demand that the head of state issue a commission of inquiry to investigate the conduct and alleged mismanagement of Air Namibia by its board members before liquidating the national airline. Concerned unionists representing the aviation and transport sector say they are shocked by the head of state's recent announcement to liquidate the national airlines. According to Ndapewa Amupanda, it is unreasonable to abandon the national airline without conducting a full investigation to unearth why the state-owned company has failed to perform despite the huge financial investments made by the government over the years.
Most Air Namibia CEOs appointed to lead the company have no airline experience to lead the company to profitability. Air Namibia's employees are well experienced and know their work very well. However, they are being disappointed by lack of leadership quality appointed by the government. It does not make sense the government to make such astronomical investment in the airline, but to abandon without investigate to find out what has transpired. Therefore, for the sake of our job security and to account for the resources injected in the operation of Air Namibia, we demand and request the President, His Excellency, to institute a commission of inquiry to investigate business and all commercial agreements made and signed by management during the period under review. Aircraft leasing, challenging air case, appointment of expatriates and their remuneration, clarity on the rumors that Air Namibia's license to fly internationally is revoked or cancelled.
According to a media report, the tourism sector is one of the largest earning industries and contributed over 5 billion Namibia dollars directly to the country's GDP in 2015. John Kwedi, the General Secretary of Natal, said that the national airline for the past years has failed to account for the money allocated to it by the government, as it has not produced any audited reports, which is required by the law.
The painful picture or situation here is that there was no financial report. Now, it's really to say that the airline is not making money because of business environment, or is it because of the maladministration? That is what we want the probe to find out. If the report give us the indication to say Air Namibia is not making profit simply because the business environment is a contributing factor, let it be. But we cannot assume now that is the case simply because we don't have a report to say yes, the contributing factors to that financial report of financial losses is ABCD. That is what we implore to be done in order for us to take a proper decision. 3 years ago or 4 years ago, you have reported on the tourist industry that they have made a profit of about 5 billion. So, and some of the tourists who have made that money to the tourist industry, to hospitality industry, they were brought in by our national airline.
The General Secretary also added that they have trust that the head of state will do the right thing by issuing a commission of inquiry, and those who are found to be managing the company corruptly should be held accountable. Currently, Air Namibia has 2 centers of power, which include the CEO, who is a Namibian, and senior accountable manager, who is a foreigner and does not reside in Namibia.
My name is Mona. I'm a physiotherapist. Life, as we know, has changed and physical interaction is limited. Exercise is more important than ever. Exercise to improve your lung function. At home, stay safe.
Despite the Namibia Training Authority pulling its funding on administration and training, the RIK Technical College opened its doors and is picking up from where it left off while adhering to the COVID-19 prevention guideline. RIK Technical College Executive Director Reinhard Kachire says the institution is ready to pick up from where it left off despite challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The negative impacts is the national assessment have been postponed by the NTA to November, December. It was supposed to take place June, July, and it will also affect the qualification of the students. And some of the students never returned after we started officially on Monday because of the parents. Some of the parents were retrenched and they cannot afford to pay rent where they were staying. Some of the positive effects are now we've got ample time for them to train them up to November. We have disinfected the buildings and the classrooms and the lecture halls, and then we bought sanitizers, we bought masks for the students and also the face masks for the staff members. And then NTA came out, they did an audit, and whereby after we qualified and everything was in place, they give us a consent letter. That means they give us a go-ahead to start with training.
The privately owned institution gets its support from the Namibia Training Authority and has a workforce of 14 staff members. None of the employees, according to the financial department, experienced any salary cuts or retrenchments despite NTA pulling its funding on administration and training.
The employees are getting their full salaries, there are no cut off,
It's only the administration part, whereby we are not getting any money for administration and also for training. So we don't do any more training. So the moment we start with training, I believe that NTA will come back to us and then tell us the way forward.
To ensure all students as well as staff members are free from the coronavirus, the center organized its lecture rooms, workshop and assembly area in line with the COVID-19 prevention policy.
When the trainees are arriving, we are sanitizing them at the gate and taking their temperatures. It is recorded because we need to know if anything happens to them. And when they are entering the classrooms, they are also being sanitized. And upon when they are going back home, we also do the same because we need to know how their temperature is up and down and so on.
Situated in Windhoek, Soweto suburb, the center caters for 80 students who say they are excited to be back.
I study metal fabrication, which is the combination of welding and boiler making together, to be exact. I'm much excited to be back at school, though we were very in a hard situation whereby we couldn't even get to our books and everything like that. So it's a privilege being back at the school, and though we are still under the regulation of the government whereby we have to adhere to the distance between all the learners and everyone, so yeah, we keeping it up till then.
The R.I. Kachire Technical College specializes in metal fabrication, which is the creation of metal structures by cutting, bending and assembling processes.
From Cape to Cairo, Accra to Antananarivo, there are millions of people just like you trying to make a living to make money. And there's no magic way to get rich quick. Unless you're Aliko Dangote. You're not Aliko Dangote, are you? No? Well, perhaps we can help you get a little further along the way. With BBC reporters all over Africa, we find the stories, the successes, and the startups that will help you make the most of your money. This is Smart Money.
In other leading stories, the transition of the country to stage 3 of the COVID-19 lockdown measures has presented an opportunity for the Namibia University of Science and Technology to address challenges faced by students who could not attend online classes, such as lack of devices and connectivity limitations. Taking into consideration these circumstances and the need for access to laboratories for some students before completing their Semester 1 courses, NUST applied to the Ministry of Higher Education, Technology and Innovation for permission to resume face-to-face classes, which the ministry approved. However, the resumption of face-to-face classes should always take place in strict observation of recommended standard health and hygiene guidelines. NUST has ensured the campus is ready to start receiving students for face-to-face classes and laboratory work. However, due to the stringent nature of the standard health and hygiene guidelines for stage 3 and the complexity of timetabling more class and laboratory groups, not all face-to-face sessions can start on the 15th of June 2020. As such, the university has adopted a phased return approach whereby students will return in smaller groups and not as an entire group. The earliest date that the university can open for students to return to campus using a phased approach is Monday, the 22nd of June 2020.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages. The Landless People's Movement LPM leadership at a recent press conference reflected on events at Parliament over the last 2 weeks. The leader of the political party, Bernardus Swartboy, said that he does not have anger problems in response to his recent behavior in the National Assembly. Annette said that some leaders have also not been respectful towards citizens, as the actions of those accused of corruption cost the jobs of many and lives as well. Kondi said Swartboy was also once a SWAPO member and has now come back to destroy Parliament. Melongo said the LPM leader is contradicting himself and must be aware of what he says and change his behavior. Stephen compared our parliament to that of the UK, stating that they take care of their people and there is still no love. Thomas said the truth should be said and Namibia must be saved and kept clean. Musike said that it does not mean that he should be disrespectful and asked what children can learn from such behavior. Minister of Health and Social Services Kalumbi Shangula announced that the 4 learners from the boarding school in Swakopmund who were reported to have COVID-19-like symptoms were tested as part of the ministry's expanded targeted testing. The learners all tested negative for COVID-19. School activities can therefore continue as planned. Stephen only wants the lockdown to be lifted as they are facing a lack of food. Gracia wondered how schools can continue with activities if the region is under lockdown. Samba said the minister needs to keep in mind that Erongo is under total lockdown. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
During these trying times with the Rona, It's-A-Wrap advises all our viewers, please, to stay home and stay safe. Stay woke, Namibia.
Hello and welcome to Turning Point International. We have taken over London.
For 10 years I did it and I got burnt out.
Over time, eBay developed an addictive personality to escape depression.
There's some people, they take medication and it actually doesn't work for them.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Very cold to cold conditions will prevail in the south, the Commerce and Omaheke regions migrating to the northeast. Frost is expected in places in the south and central regions. East wind conditions will return to the coastal areas over the weekend. Please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and cold in the south, elsewhere sunny and cold to mild but warm in the north. Windy weather will prevail in the interior. The coast partly cloudy and mild in the south but warm over the central and northern coastal areas, and the wind light southeasterly at first, becoming fresh to strong easterly later.